everyone. Welcome to Southern Utah Interview. I'm Nic Chamberlain. Today we have the privilege of being joined by Jed Stout. He was the Libertarian candidate for the Utah House of Representatives back in 2004. Mr. Stout, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
We're glad to have you. Well, you are not exactly the conventional politician. And in 2004, you ran as a Libertarian in a county that loves Republicans and doesn't really like Democrats. Why did you choose to do that, and did you think you had any chance of success?
Honestly, I did not think I could win or actually take that election, if that's the definition of success. No, but I do feel like I had a large amount of success in what I actually ran for, which was to put a different perspective out there. I felt like at the time the same things were being talked about by two different parties, and that third voice wasn't being heard at all. And I had a really good time getting out that other perspective in the debates and some of the advertisements and just talking to people.
What was your definition of success?
Success to me was convincing 2 or 3 people that there is a different perspective and getting them to look at that. And we actually had a lot of people. Every time I went to a debate or every time I was in a forum where I was able to discuss these things, I would be encountered by a lot of people afterwards asking me more about what I believed and more about that particular political philosophy. So I know there were a lot of people that changed their minds on issues and others that just opened up to at least considering it as a possibility.
Did you come away from that experience with a more positive or negative view of the voters and what they're willing to listen to here in this county?
I'd say even more positive view. I was surprised at times by how open some of the people were. You know, I got my share of folks who didn't want to hear what I had to say at all, but for the most part, people were really receptive. People were really cool to talk to, so I had fun. A lot of people had questions. One thing that did surprise me is how many people had never heard my point of view before, because it's not one that's very prevalent around here sometimes.
Why do you think your point of view isn't prevalently discussed in this area?
That's a good question. I think it's just a matter of simple education. You know, we're a small area. We don't have a huge population base, and so I think people tend to believe what their dad believed and what their mom believed, and their dad and mom believed what their dad and mom believed, and so we're in a small enough population base that we only have to go back a few generations before we all come from the same mom and pop. Metaphorically speaking, I mean, there were more than one, but really it doesn't go back that far and it doesn't spread that far. So we're going to have the same beliefs because 100 years ago, genealogically, we all come from the same source.
It does seem to be true as the eyes grow closer together.
I'm sure you and I are related in some way. You know, and as the county has grown, there are more people coming in from other areas, and there are different ideas coming in. And I think we as Southern Utahns have done a good job of not pounding people with our beliefs. I think people are nice. We're nice. As a people, Southern Utahns are nice. We're not a mean people, so we don't say, "You're wrong, I hate you. You're not allowed to live on my block or come to my church." Because even myself with some different ideas, I never was threatened. And, you know, people were, like I say, really open about it. Even my opponent in that particular race, Brad Last, the nicest guy. I mean, we had a good time at the debates that we had, and in between and after the debates, just talking about stuff, because he's a really nice guy. And I like to think I'm a nice guy, so we were able to talk. Nobody ever got mad. There was no mudslinging. We just talked about stuff that we believed.
Do you consider yourself, excuse me, do you consider yourself now to be a Libertarian with a large L?
I'm not right now, no. Large L meaning a member of the party, no.
Got it. What areas or of their platform do you differ from, I guess?
I don't know is that I disagree with any areas of their platform. The reason I'm not a member of the party is I'm just not a big party guy. I go along with, I guess, George Washington's philosophy on that parties and unholy alliances are really the downfall of our nation. And so I think that the party politics is what's caused the majority of our problems. So even if I align myself with a party that I totally agree with, who's to say that I'll always totally agree with it? At some point, they'll say something that I don't go along with, and then do I follow them simply because I'm a good party member? And that would be against my morals, just to say.
Do you think you would have been more true to your principles had you ran as just an independent, somebody who wasn't affiliated with any party?
At the time, no. Now, yeah. 4 years ago, I was totally in line with the platform that was there, so I was true to my principle at the time. And my philosophy has gone more in that Washington direction in the last 4 years. So no, at the time I was right in line with where I felt was the place to be, but at this point, no, I really don't fit in as a party person.
So to you, what is the proper role of government?
The proper role of government is to protect yours and my life, liberty, and property, and no more. And that's where I differ from most of what the different parties that are out there teach. It seems to me that the prevalent parties either want to do one thing or another in expansion of the size of government, but neither one is looking to downgrade the size of government to simply stop people from taking each other's life, taking each other's liberty, and taking each other's property. Which is what I think our founders had in mind when they framed the Constitution, and even earlier than that, the Declaration of Independence.
Are we so far away from the founders' vision that the citizens have become dependent and inescapably dependent upon the current system of big government as it exists now?
Inescapably, no, but incredibly dependent, yes. There are people who think I get the feeling from some people that without government we would all just wither and die, because government to us becomes like the sun is for a plant, and if it doesn't shine its benevolence upon us, then we're all goners. But not inescapably so. I feel like that the people can be educated and learn personal accountability and learn to live on their own without Big Brother taking care of us.
My understanding of history tells me that whenever a body of citizens wants to reduce the size of government or wants to somehow reduce their dependency on government, blood always precedes that shrinking. Have you ever seen, or do you know of an instance in history when somebody's been able to reduce the size of government and revolution hasn't preceded that?
That's a good question. One of our founders talked about, and you might be able to remind me who it was, that said that the tree of liberty needs to be dunged once in a while with the blood of patriots and tyrants. And that may very well be the case. I like to think that there can be a peaceful revolution. And I feel like there has been some on a smaller scale. You know, you look at smaller revolutions in the mindset of people. You look at how many people now are morally opposed to things like abortion. It has swung. The public opinion on abortion has swung to where people are seeing these 3D ultrasounds and seeing babies as little people climbing around inside of their mommy's womb. And the mindset shift is happening now because it's getting hard scientifically to deny that they're just little people. Or the fact, see, I had a baby that was 10 weeks early, and she was 2.5 pounds, and she was a little person, and still is. Now she's 3 years old, perfectly healthy. And to deny that she was a person, that someone could have killed her, and that was okay, would be absurd at this point.